Before we even try and analyze the reasons why the Lords of the Rings Gollum failed, we need to first take a moment to appreciate the reasons why J.R.R. Tolkien's beloved character, Smeagol, is popular. Hi, I'm Neuromancer, and welcome to Game Gossip's first video, a channel for the gamers by the gamers. We love the lore behind the Lord of the Rings and loved Gollum as a character, and we were really looking forward to this game. But things didn't turn out the way we were expecting and they were supposed to be. The reason why we love Smeagol as a character is because he is multi-dimensional and not someone easy to understand. He is one who is always fighting his inner demons, struggles and conflicts. His iconic catchphrase, "My precious," is probably one of the greatest moments in the Lord of the Rings lore, which is a monologue which is synonymous with his obsession with the ring, interlaps with remorse and moments of conflicts. So when Daedalic Entertainment decided to create a video game around the lore of Smeagol, we were pretty excited, and I personally felt the game will add to the already rich, complex and crucial character of Gollum. Well, it didn't turn out the way we expected, and in a year where we are witnessing amazing games like Dead Space Remake, Final Fantasy 16, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Hogwarts Legacy that are making heads turn, Gollum is possibly the worst game of 2023. And here are the reasons why. So the very first reason, J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth is a meticulously crafted and expansive fantasy world, showcasing an epic and engaging narrative with multi-dimensional characters and extensive world building and a lore that has a profound impact on the fantasy genre. Fans of the series expected to experience the story unfold from the eyes of Gollum or to visualize things from a different perspective. Unfortunately, this didn't happen. Not only was the game a hollow shell of the beloved IP, which wasn't canon, but it did almost absolutely nothing to keep the fans engaged or even attempt to complete the game on the pretext of a satisfactory or even a fair narrative. We happened to learn nothing new about Gollum or Smeagol at all, and this was supposed to be Gollum's video game. Gaming journalists have described the story as pointless and a gradual, unavoidable descent into ruin that makes no sense. Now, this game was in development for the last 5 years and it utilizes Unreal Engine 4 and is developed by Daedalic Entertainment. Now, this is a relatively small team of game developers who are popular for the point-and-click game called Deponia. And their inexperience while trying to develop a AAA game shows in all segments of the game. And the most evident is the visual fidelity. And this is right in your face. When you see the character model of Gollum, the face seems to be devoid of any real emotions, it's lifeless. It seems to be a plastic low-price cartoony replica of the CGI model that was created 22 years ago in the movies. As per the game's art lead, in an article published by creativeblock.com, the most challenging aspect of designing Gollum was his hair. And till this day, I'm baffled because Gollum looks like an emo version of itself. If this is what all these years of development into perfecting went into, it's crazy. The game itself is devoid of any character. The visuals are dull, the lighting feels shallow, the cutscenes, the camera angles during the cutscenes, they're all hilarious and they're all over the place. And the game overall feels like something that belongs to the PlayStation 2 or a Xbox old generation era on a bad day with an equally bad facial animations to cope up with. And this even extends to the choice of font design that appears during the decision-making aspects of the game. It looks like they used a basic Calibri font version. I mean, seriously, overall the game looks terrible. By the way, if you're still watching this video, we would like to encourage you to subscribe to our channel and like this video if you haven't already. By subscribing, you will never miss out on our latest videos, updates and exclusive content. And now we move on to gameplay mechanics. And before we discuss the gameplay mechanics, we need to understand that probably the choice of the protagonist, which is Gollum, wasn't the right one to begin with. So Gollum is not exactly an action-oriented character and is more of a stealth-based protagonist. As such, the gameplay revolves around trailing missions, where players must observe the target's movements, predict their actions, and adapt their own path to maintain a safe distance while keeping the targets within sight. And trust me, this is never fun and is completely uninspired. Also, there are a lot of climbing and parkour elements, but there is hardly any weight behind each of Gollum's jump and leap. There are missions that consist of completing chores that are real-time, adding to the monotonous and boring mission structure. The mechanics of throwing stones to distract enemies is also flawed. You cannot aim at specific objects while moving, you need to be stationary, and this will force you to forego your cover and try aiming at these objects will eventually get you discovered by the enemy. The enemy AI is, well, is pretty dumb and at times refuses to discover you, even when you may be hiding in plain sight. The platforming segments also seem unfair, and there are bugs and glitches that make this even more difficult. And to add to the misery, the camera angles during the leap make it occasionally impossible to reach a ledge. Basically, throughout the entire game, you're supposed to flip switches, perform stealth missions, and collect tags, and with some platforming sections thrown into the mix, and the game overall feels like some cheap climbing simulation. Even the decision-making mechanics where Smeagol is arguing with Gollum makes no sense, since the choice-based decision on multiple locations makes no difference as to how the story plays out. The voice of Gollum is possibly the worst ever. Gollum is known for his distinct voice, characterized by a raspy, hissing quality. A skilled voice actor needs to capture Gollum's unique speech patterns, inflections, and the conflicting personalities of Gollum and his alter ego, Smeagol. This does not happen at all in the game. The voice acting in this game is a lot gentler, probably more of a normal person and a lesser of Andy Serkis's version of Gollum in the movies. And this extends to the other characters and NPCs. They all sound weird, and pretty much everything around you. And even if the bad sound design wasn't sufficient, the developers decided to charge the fans for the Elvish voice DLC, which cost $10. I mean, seriously, $10 for Elven voices that should have been included in the game to begin with. And finally, this is possibly one of the most buggy games of this year. The animations are not complete, the fonts are not complete, and the PC requirements for this game are pretty high. And even if you exceed the recommended requirements, the gameplay is choppy. There are frame rate drops during platforming segments, even during cutscenes, where it even drops to single digits. I recall back in the day we used to say, can it run Crisis? Now it's more like, can it run Gollum? There are game-breaking bugs that will not even allow you to progress until it's patched. There are random crashes, some even during cutscenes. And if ever the phrase buggy mess had a face, it has to be Daedalus Entertainment's The Lord of the Ring Gollum. We hope you found this video entertaining, informative, or perhaps even thought-provoking. We truly appreciate your time and attention, and we are grateful for this opportunity to share our content with you. We also value your feedback and engagement, so please feel free to leave your comments, suggestions, or questions below.